member statements today, we will hear statements from the honourable members for the districts of Ferryland, St. George's Humber, St. John's Centre, Baie, Verte-Green Bay, Windsor Lake, and Carbonear-Trinity-Bay to Verde. The Honourable, the member for Ferryland.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise in this honourable House today to recognise the 100th anniversary of the sinking of the steamship SS Floricel off Hornhead Point in Cappahayden on February 24, 1918. Of the 137 souls on board, 17 passengers and 27 crew members survived. This past weekend, I had the privilege of attending a commemoration event in Cappahayden. This involved a wreath-laying ceremony at the newly constructed Floricel viewing site, storyboards listing names of those involved, and details outlining what happened that night. The town of Renews Cappahayden also renamed the road Floricel Lane. Following the site events in Cappahayden, a get-together was held at the Town Hall in Renews to showcase local musicians, storytellers, and a theatrical production of the events from 1918. There was also original songs about the untold stories of how the heroic residents helped in the rescue on that early morning. I want to recognise the organising committee of the event, and especially Susan Sheehan, for ensuring that a significant marine event in our history is remembered, and we ensure such a significant part of our culture and history is shared with residents and all those that travel to the region. Mr. Speaker, I ask all members of the House to join me in congratulating the town of Renews Cappahayden on the commemoration on the 100th anniversary of Floricel, and certainly ask everybody to visit the site. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member for the district of St. George's Humber.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today to recount a little-known story of events which happened 150 years ago in the Baie St. George South area, and to recognize a group of dedicated volunteers working to preserve the heritage of the area. In April of 1868, 6 boys aged 11 to 16 and 1 young man, 21, stowed away aboard the Erin, a bulk carrier leaving Scotland bound for Quebec. The boys remained on the ship until they were abandoned on the ice floes out in Baie St. George off the community of Highlands on May the 15th. 2 of the younger boys did not survive, and had it not been for the sighting by Catherine Ann Gillis McGuinness, the other 4 may have suffered the same fate. The 4 boys were rescued by fishermen and brought ashore, where they were treated kindly by residents. The captain of the vessel was eventually convicted of homicide and sent to jail. This year, members of the Baie St. George Heritage Association and the local service district are planning an event in May to commemorate Catherine's sighting and rescue of the boys. I ask all members to join with me in wishing them well with this project. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable, the member for St. John's Centre.
Mr. Speaker, when we all heard the news that Jenny Wright and her daughter Shelby had survived a harrowing collision on the Southern Shore Highway, there was an enormous outpouring of concern and support. Jenny's commitment to the feminist movement and to the innovative work by her team at the St. John's Status of Women Council's Women's Centre is legendary. I am thrilled to report that Jenny and Shelby are recovering, and Jenny's team at the Women's Centre continues to do fantastic work. Their Right Here, Right Now counselling clinic, the province's first and only drop-in single-session counselling clinic specifically for women, quickly connects with women and refers them on to complementary programs and well onto the road of recovery. Conceptualized by the Women's Centre and partnered with Catherine DeBoer from the School of Social Work at Memorial University, Right Here, Right Now has had its first comprehensive evaluation and has proven to be a resounding success. Bravo to Jenny and her extraordinary team and her fabulous board members for creating a drop-in counselling centre that is useful, relevant, and responsive. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable member for Baie, Verte-Green Bay.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today to acknowledge the town of Springdale and its residents for holding their second ever Random Acts of Kindness Week, which was enjoyed the week of February 17th to the 23rd. Random Acts of Kindness Week encourages residents to give to a neighbour, co-worker, or classmate as a way of saying thanks. The event is promoted by the town of Springdale, which was kick-started by delivering fruit trays to local groups. Others have jumped on board, Strangers paying for coffee for the vehicle behind them in the Tim's lineup. Others were shoveling driveways, students holding doors for one another and delivering flowers to their teachers. As the week went on, it became more contagious. Teachers were placing motivational notes on students' lockers and bringing treats for all to enjoy. Indian River Academy decided to promote the idea even further by placing a tree in the school lobby decorated with a heart for every act of kindness. Social media was alive with related stories of kindness. It was a wonderful idea the whole community rallied around, and you could sense it everywhere. I ask my colleagues to join me in applauding the residents of Springdale. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member for the district of Windsor Lake.
Mr. Speaker, it gives me great pleasure to rise in the House today to recognize the Friends of India Association. For over 52 years, this organization has worked tirelessly to preserve, create awareness, and promote the Indo-Canadian cultural heritage here in Newfoundland and Labrador. Led and operated entirely by volunteers, the Friends of India Association offers year-round cultural, social, and educational programs that bring many communities together by showcasing Indian and other ethnic traditions through music, dance, cuisine, and art. Designed to promote multiculturalism, the activities and the events that the Friends of India Association host foster friendships between people of Indian origin and of all the people throughout our amazing province. The organization is a non-profit, secular, non-political organization that has multi-generational volunteers who not only celebrate culture but also give back financially to young people for educational opportunities. Recently, I was privileged to celebrate the 69th Republic Day celebrations hosted by the Friends of India. And on behalf of the people of the province, I would like to express our gratitude to the Friends of India Association for more than 5 decades of work and dedication in promoting the rich cultural heritage of India in Newfoundland and Labrador.
Hear, hear. The honourable member for the district of Carbonear-Trinity-Bay to Verde.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and with leave of my colleagues, I'd like to deliver a member statement.
Does the member have leave? Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise in this honourable House today to recognize the amazing dedication of that Alice Cumby has made to the residents of Hearts Content. Ms. Cumby moved to Hearts Content in 1965 with her family. When the town was incorporated in August 1967, an advertisement went out for a part-time town clerk. Having 2 small children at the time and being what you would call a people's person, Alice decided that a 2-day job would be something she would enjoy and applied for. Mr. Speaker, Alice was the successful candidate, and on March 1, 1968, she began her role as town clerk manager and has held that position as the town clerk manager of Hearts Content ever since. Today marks 50 years since Alice Cumby began working for the town, and what started out as a 2-day-a-week job has grown into a full career, half a century in the making, that anyone would be proud of. The town of Hearts Content has seen positive changes over the past 50 years, and Alice has been a part of many of these changes. Mr. Speaker, I ask all honourable members of this House to join me in congratulating Alice Cumby for 50 years of municipal service to the residents of Hearts Content, and best wishes as she continues to serve the residents of the town. The Premier and I will be in Hearts Content later this evening to attend an event in the honour, and look forward to congratulating Alice in person. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.